Hi guys, this is Zach from Watches on You, and today I'm going to be making a video discussing what I believe are the best Swiss-made watches you can get from the price ranges of $500 all the way up to $5,000. Now in this video, I'm going to be primarily focusing on new watches. All of these watches in front of me are brand new, except for the Rolex Explorer 1 at the very end. So I'm just going to be going over as you can see, most of these watches are dive watches or field watches, except for the Omega, which is a chronograph. And the reason that is just I think that they're kind of the most versatile style of watches, and that's kind of what I wanted to make this video on. Where if you want to buy one good watch, no matter really what your price range is, these will basically be able to fit all of your needs every day. So now let's go into the video. So I'm going to start off at the lowest price point that I'll be covering here, and that's a price point of around $500. So the watch that I have here is going to be the Tissot seastar powermatic 80. So this watch comes in at a price of actually I believe $695, sorry. And this watch is a pretty good watch around the $500 price point because you're getting an in-house movement. Now it was done in collaboration with ETA because Tissot and ETA are both part of the Swatch group, but it is in-house made by Tissot. And the powermatic 80, it also has an 80-hour power reserve, which is something you really don't see, and you're really just kind of starting to see Rolexes even meet that power reserve rating. So it's very rare to see on many watches, let alone a watch that's under $1,000. Now you're also getting this kind of nice blue dial. It's not really a sunray, I would say. It kind of is. It basically flows from sunray at the center and then goes to dark at the outside, and it provides the watch with a very unique look and really shines in the light. And you get a diving bezel on the outside. Now the diving bezel is not ceramic; it's an aluminum insert, but you wouldn't really necessarily expect to see that on a watch at this price point. But overall, the bezel action is very good. It's a 120-click bezel, locks down very nicely, definitely no problems there. And the quality that you're getting from this piece overall is just going to be very nice. There's really no problems here. The finishing quality is great. You can see that there's nice brushing on the sides and some polishing. There's really a nice varied number of surfaces and types of finishing, and you get a exhibition case back on the back so you can look at that powermatic 80 movement, which it doesn't have too much finishing, but again, at this price point, you really wouldn't expect it to, especially being that it's a Swiss-made movement. This is a pretty cheap watch to have a movement of that caliber. So now let's move on to the price point of around $1,000 to $2,000. So for that, I have this. This is the Oris Big Crown propilot, and this comes in at a price of, I believe, I just want to make sure, I'll just look at the tag here quickly. It comes in at $1,750 brand new. So this is a pretty good watch, I feel, for this price point because Oris tends to have very good finishing on their pieces. You can see that the brushing is done very well, very uniform, no problems there. Their bracelets are very high quality. You just press the open, you get solid bar clasp. Tag Heuers around this price point really are only just starting to have that. And I think Oris really, they kind of have, the price ranges of $1,000 to $2,000, I think is kind of where Oris does a very good job and better than a lot of other watchmakers. I'd say Oris's quality overall is better than Tag Heuer watches at around this price point, and I think that this is a nice watch just because it's so versatile. It is quite large, but you're really still going to be able to wear this wherever you want to go with a mere change of the strap. So that's one thing I like about this. This uses an ETA movement, so it's not in-house, but there's really not a big problem with that. It isn't very finished. I mean, I wish they would have done some more finishing on it because now you're spending in the $1,700 range for a watch, but still, that's a little early. That's a little lower in price to really get very fine finishing in a timepiece. So I'd say if you're looking for $1,000 to $2,000, this would be a good watch for you. Other watches that I would say would be good to consider would be a Longines Hydra Conquest. They just redesigned that watch. That'd be a good buy. And there are a few others out there. I just kind of like the fit and finish of Oris a little bit more than some of the other brands. So now let's move on to the $2,000 to $3,000 price range. So for the $2,000 to $3,000 price range, I think that the Longines Heritage Diver is a great option. I think that the finishing on this piece is done very nicely. I'm just going to polish it up here a little bit with my glove. It's a bit dirty. And you can see that the polishing is done very, very nicely. There's really no blemishes whatsoever. I love the vintage-inspired look. And one thing I really love about this is this watch does not have faux patina. There are so many vintage heritage pieces that have faux patina, and I think it really kind of ruins the look of the watch. On this, they made it look like the watch would have looked when it was new, apart from the larger case size. Now, another thing that I think that sets this watch apart is its Milanese bracelet. This bracelet is one of the most comfortable bracelets I've ever worn because there's no breaks in the bracelet. It's continuous and it's curved metal, and to adjust the links, it's pretty interesting. So the weave just kind of looks like it flows straight through, but really these are just it's kind of a, I guess, pattern pressed into the metal, and you can remove links. So you still get easy link adjustability. You have some micro adjusts, and you get a solid bar clasp, even with some finishing, nice perlage right there. So this watch comes in at $2,400. It does use an ETA movement, but I still think that this watch is great quality for the price. You get a cool inner rotating bezel, so you can adjust it using the upper crown, and it's bi-directional. And then you can just screw the upper crown back down to lock the bezel in place. I think that it's one of the best finished, if not the best finished watch around this price point. Very good buy if you're looking at that price. So now let's go on to the $4,000 price point. So the $4,000 price point, that's actually what I'm going to say is the Omega Seamaster Professional 300 meter. Now this one is the old design, but you still can get them brand new. Plenty of dealers will still have these, and they're going to be quite a bit lower than the brand new one. This one comes in at $4,400 on the bracelet, and this is the blue dial with the ceramic bezel. Very high quality timepiece. You're getting a helium escape valve, 300 meter water resistance, and it's a good tool watch, but yet it also still has a good dressy look due to the polished sides that this watch also has. And the finishing of Omegas is always fantastic. This has their in-house coaxial movement. So I think that this piece would also be a great buy at around this price point, as you're really going to be able to wear this watch every day. It's going to look good absolutely anywhere, but it still has tool watch functionality if you would like to dive or snorkel in the ocean. Now the clasp on this piece is also very nice, solid bar clasp. You do get a diver's extension, so now we're getting into some of the more luxury type features. If I can pop it out here. There you go. So there's your diver's extension right there if you need to slip the watch over a wetsuit. But then when you don't need it, you just pop it back up into the clasp, and it's not even going to be like it's there at all. So I think that, again, this is a great buy if you're looking at around $4,000. So now going to the $5,000 price point. I actually picked 3 watches around this price point, depending on kind of what suit your needs best. So I have the new Omega Seamaster Professional 300 meter. This is the brand new one that just came out this year. 8 authorized dealers are kind of just starting to get these watches in stock, and there are a lot of notable upgrades to this piece. Another one you could go for is the Omega Speedmaster Professional Moonwatch. This model I have here, this is the Sapphire version, so this comes in at $6,250, but the Hesselite version, which is the one I would recommend you buy, is $5,250. And then this is the Rolex Explorer 1. This is the pre-2010 model, and this watch comes in at $5,350 pre-owned at JB Hudson Jewelers right now. So this new Omega, this comes in at $4,750 on the rubber band or $4,850 on the bracelet. I would say get the bracelet if you can. But this watch, again, the finishing, they upped it. They massively improved, I'd say, on the old model. You're getting much higher quality. You get a big ceramic bezel that is a little bit more reminiscent of like the bezel on a Submariner, and you get the wave dial, which harkens back to the older Seamasters that used to have wave dials. And one thing I love is they moved the date to 6 o'clock to make the dial symmetrical. Now, you also get the new Omega Master coaxial movement with a clear case back. This still has a 300 meter water resistance, just to let you know. And the Master coaxial movement is one of the best movements on the market today. It's got a magnetic resistance up to 15,000 Gauss, which magnetizing your watch can happen if you're around a strong enough magnet, and it actually happens to people quite frequently and will totally throw the accuracy of your watch off. But Omega rated this up to 15,000 Gauss, so it can take that level of magnetism, and that's basically what you're going to be getting inside an MRI, so you're really not going to ever encounter magnetism that strong. So I think it's a great thing that they made the movement be able to withstand that, basically meaning that you'll never have to worry about magnetizing your watch. Good job, Omega, with that. You do get a helium release valve still, so if you like to saturation dive, you still have that functionality. And they also improved the bezel action on this piece. It locks down much tighter. It's a bit smoother, and you can even hear the difference. It's a lot smoother, I'd say, than the old one. Locks down tighter, and really no problems there. I think it's great. Oh, I am having a little trouble doing this with gloves, and that's one thing I would say about Omegas is they probably should put a little bit more grip on their bezels, just in general, to make it easier to use if you're scuba diving and you have diving gloves on. So now let's go to the Speedmaster Professional. So this, I would say, is one of the most iconic wristwatches ever made. I'd say probably the second most iconic after the Rolex Submariner. And this watch was the first watch to actually go to the moon. And it's really been an icon ever since it was ever made, the whole time throughout its production. It is absolutely spectacularly finished. You get a great bracelet with this piece, and you also get the nice grid chronograph function. So to start the chronograph, you start it with the upper pusher, you can stop it with the upper pusher, and then you can reset it with the bottom. One of the most iconic watches on the market, very high quality, and again, I would say that you go for the Hesselite. This is $1,000 more if you want the Sapphire model, but the Sapphire model does get you a clear case back where you can see the wonderfully finished chronograph movement in this piece. So I think that this would definitely be a very good buy if you're looking at a watch around the $5,000 price point, just because it's such an iconic piece. And with regards to value retention, this watch is going to be a bit better than some of the other watches at lower price points or around this price point as well. So now, for the Rolex Explorer 1, I think this is a good option if you want a Rolex. So I think the Explorer 1 is for sure one of the most, if not the most, versatile watches in Rolex's lineup, and it's really the only professional steel sports model that Rolex makes where you can still get it for a decent price under the original retail price. This one comes in at $5,350 pre-owned here at JB Hudson Jewelers, and I think it's a good buy. I mean, Rolex, definitely the most iconic brand of watch, and the finishing on this piece is fantastic. This is a full-on luxury timepiece. The Omegas are as well, and you're just going to get some differences, some better finishing on this piece than you are with the Oris. Now, this watch, you don't get the solid milled borrowed clasps like on the newer Rolexes, but I think that this is still a good buy if you want a Rolex because it's just so versatile. You can get Datejust for a little bit cheaper than this, but I think that the Explorer is, if you want a very iconic Rolex that you're going to be able to wear anywhere, anytime, I think that the Explorer is probably the one to go for. So, hope you guys liked this video. I hope you guys liked my choices. Let me know in the comments what you think of these watches, or if you think that I should have included some other watches to this list. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. Thanks.